Alright, so which NSX is the best NSX? We're going to focus on the first generation NSX that was made from 1991 to 2005. We're also going to stick to just the ones that were sold in the US. I think when people are looking to buy an NSX, the big things that they look for typically are going to be, do I want a 5-speed? Do I want a 6-speed? Do I want that 3.0 engine? Do I want that 3.2 liter engine? Do I want power steering? If I don't have power steering, is that okay? Do I want a Targa top or do I just want a coupe? I think those are the typical questions people always ask. Today, hopefully I can give you more information to give you a little bit more specific things that differ between each NSX year. Okay, so most of the time when people talk about the Acura NSX, they usually talk about the NA1, which was 1990 to 1996, or the NA2, which was 1997 to 2005. We're going to go a little bit deeper. So starting in 1990 to 1994, you had a 5-speed transmission and it was just a coupe. Okay, it was just a coupe, no Targa top. 95, 96, you got Targa top, power steering, and you added about 100 pounds to the weight because they had to add some structural reinforcements for that Targa top. 1996 was the last year for that 3.0 liter V6 NA1 engine, which the horsepower came in at 270 and the torque came in at 285. So to sum up the NA1, which was 1990 to 1996, you had a 1990 to 1994, which had no power steering and no Targa top. 1995 and 1996, they added power steering, and you had the option of a Targa top. In 1997, the NA2 version came out with a 3.2 liter V6 engine that had 209 horsepower and torque came in at 305. The NA2 NSX went from 97 to 2005, and in 2002, there was a headlight upgrade where they took away the pop-up headlights. So which NSX is the best? And we're not talking about a Type R or like a Zanardi Special Edition. We're talking just your basic 1990 to 2005 NSX. When we dig a little deeper, we see that there are some key differences suspension-wise that were made from 95 to 2002. There were smaller diameter front sway bars, slightly stiffer front springs, softer rear springs, and firmer shock dampers. And this was basically for ride comfort and to reduce any oversteer if there were any at all. One huge factor besides just power steering is if you want a 5-speed or a 6-speed. The 6-speed was in 1997. If you do go with an NA1 and that 5-speed transmission, the 95 and 96 would probably be a little bit better because the second gear ratio was lowered by about 4.2%. That basically improved drivability and also provided better response. 1995 also got improved torque reactive limited slip differential, new throttle-by-wire system, and together they increased the corner exit speed by 10 whole percent. 95 and 96 also had a new lighter exhaust system muffler configuration that gave greater efficiency, lower emissions, an OBD2 onboard diagnostic system, improvements in the traction control system, and newly developed fuel injectors. 95 and 96 also had a small diameter twin disc clutch system, which made the transmission a little smoother. Basically, if you're going to get an NA1, the 95 and 96, I think, would probably be a better bet. There was some special order coupes that were made, so if you can get your hand on those, they would probably be a little bit better because they're lighter than the Targa tops. And, you know, they probably have way better collectability. A lot of people's favorite NSX is the 1997 NA2 because everything was new. You had a new engine, which was a 3.2 liter engine, stainless steel header pipes versus the old cast iron manifold. That basically improved the performance. Plus, it was lighter, so that overall, the power to weight ratio was increased by 7%. They got slightly larger brake rotors And for a lot of the parts on the car, there was a new aluminum alloy that they made for things like the door, the fenders, the front and rear deck lids. This overall saved about 22 pounds. So you got a bigger engine, you got a 6-speed transmission, and you saved about 22 pounds. Every year from 1990 to 2005, it's going to be about the same. You're going to see some magazines say the 0 to 60 is anywhere from 4.5 seconds to as high as 5 seconds, with a quarter mile being about 13 seconds to 13 and a half. Keyless entry doesn't really matter to a lot of people, but in 97, the Acura NSX did get keyless entry. 2002 is probably the last big refresh. They took out the headlights, so there was no pop-up headlights, and it was fixed headlights. They also revised the suspension with some increased spring rate, wider tires, bigger rear stability bars. Twin exhaust was changed to quad unit tips. 2002 also had a refresh on the NSX Type R. 2002 also had nicer interior, different colors. I'm going to post up the different color combinations that were available also. So what year NSX should you buy? If you're talking from 97 to 2005, it's going to be a lot more expensive than a first generation NA1, but it just depends on what you're really looking for. If the 6-speed transmission means that much to you, then definitely go for the NA2. But if you're going to go with a NA1, again, we stick to probably a 95, 96 year. And then if you're going to go for an NA2, it really depends if you like the pop-up headlights or not. If you like the pop-up headlights, you go from 97 to 2001. And if you don't like the pop-up headlights, you go from 2002 to 2005. And keep in mind, you can always switch out the headlights if you want, but this is just the basics of 1990 to 2005. So what year do you think is the best year for the Acura NSX?